Imagine a world where the sun does not rise to bring warmth, but to remind you how little time you have left. A world where survival is not a right, but a borrowed privilege that can be taken at any moment. More than 2 million years ago, on the restless plains of East Africa, such a world existed. And in this place lived a kind of early human whose life was so short, so fragile, so brutally temporary, that most never reached their 12th year. This is their story. At first light, when shadows still cling to the rocks, the African Rift Valley glows with a thin veil of heat. Even morning tarries the bite of a coming inferno. Volcanoes simmer beneath the horizon, the earth splits without warning, and winds roll dust across a landscape shaped by fire and drought. And somewhere in this ancient theater, footsteps emerge. Small, light, cautious. These are the first humans we meet in the fossil record. Tiny-bodied beings no taller than a school-aged child, their frames delicate, their bones thin as hollow branches. And yet within their skulls, a spark flickers, a curiosity unfamiliar to all other animals around them. But the world they were born into does not care for sparks. Their entire existence plays out between threats. Threats from the sky, threats from the ground, threats hidden in every patch of tall grass. By day, the plains move with giants. Ancient elephants scraping dust with tusks longer than a man is tall. Grazers the size of modern bulls trembling at every breeze. Predators patrolling silently, huge lions, saber-toothed cats with blades for teeth, hyenas powerful enough to snap bone like twigs. To these apex hunters, the first humans are nothing more than slow meat. Their survival depends on vigilance. Every rustle matters, every shift in the wind, every sudden silence among the birds. They live in small groups, 10, maybe 20 at most, pressing close to the rocks and thorn trees for cover. They do not walk boldly across the land. They creep through it like shadows trying not to disturb the world. And still, the world notices. These early humans are not hunters. They lack the muscle. They lack the speed. And their crude stones, nothing more than sharp flakes struck from river rocks, are far too simple to bring down prey. So they watch. They wait. They follow the predators from a distance, tracking the vultures circling overhead, listening for the roars that echo across the plains. When a lion's feast ends, when bones are stripped and shadows move on, only then do these humans approach. A cracked rib, a scrap of tendon, a mouthful of marrow tapped from bone. To them, these leftovers are treasure, calories that mean survival for another day. Hunger is their teacher. Caution is their law. Thousands of years will pass before any human hunts by choice. For now, they simply take what nature leaves behind. But even the scraps of daylight offer more mercy than the night. When the sun sinks behind the rift cliffs, the temperature plummets. Darkness rolls over the plains like a living thing, and the sounds of the night begin their ancient chorus. A distant roar, a cracking branch, a sudden, sharp scream swallowed almost instantly. For the first humans, night is not a time to move. It is a time to hide and hope.
They burrow into shallow caves or curl into hollows beneath stone outcrops, their eyes wide and glinting, never fully close. They have seen what hunts in the night: hyenas, enormous and relentless, leopards slipping through grass like spirits, cats with saber-like fangs, patient and silent. And then something even stranger, a distant glow, a fire ignited by lightning. These humans do not understand it, but they approach carefully after storms, reaching out tiny hands toward the warmth, touching the glowing embers with trembling curiosity. They cannot create the flame, not yet, but they know its truth. Light means safety.
It is easy to wonder why these early humans lived such short, tragic lives. Why most never reached adulthood. Why barely a handful ever saw their 15th year. The answer lies in the land, the predators, and their own biology. They are born fragile, bones thin, muscles small, skin easily torn. Their immune systems face a world overflowing with parasites and unknown diseases. A simple scratch can kill. A fever can spread through an entire group in a matter of days. Thirst stalks them endlessly. The Rift Valley swings between scorching droughts and sudden floods violent enough to sweep entire families into ravines. Starvation whispers through every dry season. Some years, the rains failed completely, and the plains become a graveyard. But the greatest killer of all is their vulnerability. They cannot outrun predators. They cannot fight. They cannot climb fast enough or far enough when danger strikes. They live by hiding, scavenging, fleeing. A life measured in heartbeats. A life lived at the bottom of nature's hierarchy. A life not built to last. And yet, even in this brutality, something profoundly human begins to emerge. A wounded individual is not always abandoned. Others gather around, touching gently, offering scraps of food, letting the weak rest at the center of the group. Mothers share more than instinct. They share warmth, shelter, and whatever food they can gather. Older individuals, brittle and slow, still guide the young, showing where roots grow, where predators hide, where water used to be. This is not yet culture, not yet society, not yet language. But it is the beginning of compassion, the first glimmer of the bonds that would one day define us. In their trembling hands and tentative gestures, the earliest threads of humanity are woven. They live for hundreds of thousands of years, generation after generation, repeating the same rituals of survival, running from predators, seeking water, scavenging for scraps, sheltering from storms that split the sky open. And through it all, their small brains learn, their hands grow slightly more skilled, their senses more refined. Then, slowly, evolution reshapes them. Some children are born taller, some with stronger legs, some with wider chests, better suited for long distances. Some with minds capable of remembering more, planning better, striking stones with intention rather than accident. And one day, a new kind of human rises among them. Taller, braver, more enduring. A species that will learn to chase prey for hours until it collapses. A species that will protect the night with fire they create themselves. A species that will spread across continents. The old ones,
The short-lived ones fade into the background of history, not wiped out at once, but slowly, quietly, as stronger descendants take their place. They vanish, leaving no graves, no language, no carved symbols, just bones, just stones, just silence.
And yet, their influence is everywhere. Every tool we hold, every challenge we survive, every flame we light, all of it began with them. With a trembling hand striking a stone for the first time. With a glance shared in the dark when danger lurked outside the cave. With the tiny, fragile spark of imagination glowing inside a skull barely bigger than a fist. They were not conquerors. They were not warriors. They did not change their world. But they changed us. They were the fragile bridge between instinct and intelligence, fear and awareness, existence and identity. Without them, there would be no humans at all. In the night winds of ancient Africa, perhaps their echoes still linger. The rustle of small footsteps, the whisper of breath in the dark, the faint tap of stone against bone, shaping the first tool in human history. They lived short, desperate, trembling lives. Lives spent running from the world. Lives overshadowed by predators and storms and unbearable hunger. But in those brief, flickering moments, they carried the first spark of what humanity would one day become. They were born prey, born fragile, born into a world that did not want them. And yet, they endured long enough to pass on the torch of evolution, a torch that still burns in every one of us today. This is their legacy.